courses, mentorships, gurus, programs, you name it. If you're watching this video, you probably already know how important it is to be able to decide who's the right teacher or guide when you're learning any new skill set. But you probably also know that it could be very challenging. No matter what field you're looking into, there's gonna be so many options, and choosing the wrong one could definitely be detrimental for your learning experience. But don't worry, in this video, I'm gonna give you our 5-point checklist that we use every time before we get into any course or mentorship. And anytime we've deviated away from this, we've really grown to regret that. It just hasn't worked out in our favor. But before we get into that, I'm gonna give you a quick story, a recent story that really reminded me of how important these courses and mentorships can be. So if you're already subscribed to the channel or you've seen us before at Above the Par, you know that we own and operate an Amazon FBA business doing, about 8 figures a year. So we went to an event that was all about wholesalers, which is very rare in the Amazon community. Most of the time when you go to Amazon focused events, it's all private label sellers. But this event was solely on wholesalers, which is what we operate. And it was about 700 wholesalers there, which was unique. It's never happened before to my recollection, so it was a great experience for us. I ran into this guy that we actually ran into and met about 2 or 3 years ago in Vegas at ASD, which is an Amazon-focused trade show. And it was our first time meeting him. He was a little newer in the business than us, but we were doing very similar numbers. I think at that time we were doing about maybe 300 to 350,000 a month in revenue, and he was doing somewhere around that, maybe 375. And we were just, exchanging ideas. We went out for lunch. We hung out the whole day pretty much and had a walkthrough of the trade show together. So we haven't talked much since then. We didn't exchange information, or if we did, we didn't follow up with each other. But I ran into him at this event. So we're just catching up like, hey, I haven't seen you in forever. What's going on? So we sat down, we had lunch, and we just, caught up with each other's businesses. So at the end of the conversation, he kind of asked a question. He said, no offense, don't take this offensively, but I just wanted to know, when we last met, we were doing pretty similar numbers on the platform. Since then, his business hasn't grown that much. I think he's maybe in that 400,000 range. And since then, we've had our peak month at like 1.2 million. We're doing a lot in terms of revenue, better than his business at the time. And he's like, what do you attribute that to? Like, what has caused that growth? Because I'm not seeing it. Definitely didn't offend me, but it did, make me reflect for a minute. And I had to ask myself, like, what was it? Like, what if they had to pinpoint something in the business that we've done, what would it be? And when I really had to think about it, I had to say it had to be our mentorships and our courses and guidance. I think as we aligned ourselves with much bigger sellers and just stayed active in certain communities that were all focused around Amazon FBA and especially wholesaler, that was a game changer for us. We had resources that we had at our disposal that he probably didn't have. We had people that we could contact at a moment's notice that can answer questions in our business that he probably didn't have. And that's huge when you're growing a business. That shortcuts and circumvents so many issues that you're gonna run into, so many questions that you're gonna have when you have someone else that can answer it for you. So if I had to think about one thing that changed our business, it was definitely the courses and mentorships that we chose to go with. And, just obviously the work that comes with it. You just don't sign up for something and pay money for something. It's still gonna take a lot of work, but having those resources are definitely a game changer. So now we know, now we remember how important they are. But I'm gonna give you this 5-point checklist that we use, and at the end, I'll give you a bonus for something that's not on the checklist, but something to always look out for. And just so you know, this is gonna be a 2-part video. In the second video, we're gonna talk about more so just what are the 4 or 5 different ways of actually learning, how you should actually go about choosing which method is best for you. But all right, let's get to this checklist. So the first thing we look for before going into any, let's just call it guides for now, because courses, mentorship program, so many different names, so let's just call it guides. Number 1 has to be, is this person or is this group an authority in the space? This is essential. I think everyone knows this, but what often happens is people portray a lifestyle, like they'll show you the cars, the houses, the trips, whatever it may be, sitting in front of a beach on a computer, and you think, oh man, that's the life I want. But does this person actually run this business on a day-to-day basis? You need to be able to verify that. You need to be able to have that conversation with them and make sure that they are still operating this business at a high level so that they can still teach you what's going on. You just don't want to see the lifestyle and everything, even though that's great and we all want to, live that life. But we want to make sure the person is an authority in the space. Absolutely essential. So number 1 is this person or group an authority? Number 2, recency. Now, this is a huge deal, especially for me. Because oftentimes when I first got started in Amazon, we were purchasing a lot of courses. We were trying to soak up as much knowledge as we possibly can. But what we saw with a lot of courses is they hadn't been updated in like 2 to 3 years. No matter what field you're in, it's always changing. Things are always changing. You know, the landscape is always adapting. So you need something that's recent. When is the last time this course or mentorship or program has been updated? When is the last time that we had that information so we can know exactly what's currently going on in the marketplace? That's absolutely essential. Never forget that. So always be able to ask that person, whoever's teaching you, when's the last time was this updated? How often is it updated? To make sure that you're getting information that's relevant to what's currently going on. Okay, so we got 2. We got authority and we have recency. Number 3, I think this is probably the most important point for me, and it has to be feedback and accessibility. When you choose someone who's going to be teaching you, how often and how frequently can you contact them? And how quickly do they get back to you? We've taken a course of mentorship. I'm not gonna say the name, but when we were starting Airbnb, it was atrocious. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. The person who we thought we were gonna have contact with, we didn't have contact with them. The person who we had contact with, when we asked a question, we didn't get answers for another month. So that doesn't help you. In a business, you need to have feedback on a consistent basis to help you grow, to help you understand your mistakes and what you could be doing better. So feedback and accessibility. How often and how frequently can you communicate and contact this person? And are they giving you feedback on the questions that you need answers to? Essential. All right, so we got the top 3 points in. Number 4, this is one that I think that a lot of these courses suffer from. I've taken a tremendous amount of courses, and this year alone, I think we spent upward of 6 figures on just courses and mentorships because it's what helps us grow. But any bad experience we've had has been when there's so much bloat. There's so much additional information in a course or mentorship that it's not really necessary. I think people think that, look, I want to charge maybe a high price, or I know so much, I just want to give you all my information. It doesn't work like that. When you're giving someone information, you want them to get from point A down here to point B up here, and you want to have the most effective route. If I can teach it to you in 10 steps, I don't want to give you 100 steps, because now that causes so much confusion, right? Give it as clear and direct as possible. The goal is to get from here to here as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And then when that goal is done, if you still have access to that person, yeah, throw in all the other information that can help them, go to another level, sure. But any course of mentorship, is it clear, direct? Ask the person who's gonna be teaching you, look, can I get an outline of maybe the modules? Can I get an outline of the lesson plan? Like, how do you go about teaching? To make sure that it's not just a bunch of useless information that's just gonna keep you all confused and not knowing which way to go. So clear and direct. And number 5 is gonna be, is it value driven? Now, this is kind of gonna be built in if the other 4 points are checked off, which is gonna be authority, recency, feedback and accessibility, and is it clear and direct? Usually the value is gonna be built in, but we wanna make sure that, let's just say you buy a course for $1,000, right? And the potential return on learning everything in the course is only $2,000 in terms of profit or whatever. That's not really worth it, in my opinion, because you're not only spending $1,000 in money, you're also spending time learning the skill set, which time, in my opinion, is way more important than money. And you want to make sure that at the end of the day, is it value driven? What is the ROI that I'm going to see? If I'm paying $1,000 and I'm learning a skill set that can make me $10,000 a month, that's a no-brainer to me, right? The ROI is built in. I know that as long as I put the time and effort in, all the material is there to get me to a point which I have now, at least just say on the monetary landscape, a 10x ROI, right? So make sure that anytime you're speaking to anyone who you're gonna be allowing to teach you, that the value is built into what they are teaching you. I kept it short and sweet, I tried to, but those are the 5 points. We're gonna review them one more time, just to go over it. It's gonna be authority, recency, feedback and accessibility, clear and direct, and then value driven. If you have any questions about any of those and you want me to elaborate more, feel free to put in the comments, I'll let you know. But here's the bonus, right? This is something that's so important when teaching, in my opinion, when you're teaching someone anything, right? And do they allow you to make mistakes? One of the most important things in business is the ability to think and make adjustments for yourself. If someone is just telling you what to do and you're executing them, you will never learn how to make decisions. And as an entrepreneur, as anyone starting on their journey in any business, you need to be able to make your own decisions, because at the end of the day, it's your business. Whoever is teaching you doesn't have the same dedication, the same commitment to that business that you have. So you need to be able to think. You need to be able to think on the fly, and you need to be able to make adjustments. So when they're teaching you, they should always be asking, in my opinion, hey, what is your opinion on this issue? And then they respond with why they think otherwise or why they agree with you, because now that's developing a whole different muscle. And that muscle is the problem solving muscle. That is your ability to make adjustments in your business, and that is gonna be absolutely paramount, one of the most important skill sets, because as you grow, you will need to make those decisions, and you will need to teach the team, whatever team you build under you, to make those decisions. So now you have the 5-point checklist, you have the bonus, which is making sure that whoever's teaching you allows you to think for yourself and make those assessments on if the process and your thought process is correct. So I think you have everything you need to go ahead and make decisions on if someone who's gonna be teaching you is the right or wrong person. So make sure to leave it in the comments if you need help on any of these, and we're more than willing to help. And then check out that second video where we go more in depth on the different ways of learning and the different tier systems of learning. Thanks.